Good evening, everyone. Thank us tonight, Ryan Killay. I'm the director of admissions, and I'm so Denisha. Thank you so much for coming on to give a presentation about financial aid. And thank you all for joining us. Without further ado, I'm just going to kick it over to Denise.
All right.
It will be posted as well down the road. So thank you for joining us, and Denisha, kick it off. Feel
Well,
free to kick it off.
thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Upon registration, there was a few people who asked some questions. So what I did was I basically kind of moved around some of my slides to answer some of those questions. So if you have other questions, feel free to throw them in the chat and then we'll answer them as we are moving along. So as he said, my name is Denisha Newby. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at William Peace University, and so happy to have you here. Hopefully you've had, several interactions with me or with my team members, and we've been able to answer some of your questions. So I would start off with what the first question was, which was how can I check for how much I have to pay for the 26-27 school year? So that's a great question. Just so that you know, the bills for fall are going to be produced early to mid-June. Our Student Financial Services office is going to mail those out. That's our student account billing office. They're going to mail them out to all families. But students can also see this information by going to their PacerNet under self-service. And under student accounts, they can actually view that information. That's where they also can do other things. It'll be important to get information about how to waive health insurance. Let's say if there's payment plans, you can do all that and sign up for all that via self-service and using the student accounts link. So that was the first question that we received. The next question we received was, if I am living off campus, how do you apply your student aid to your rent? So that's another great question. So there's times where some students are not, they have enough money after tuition, right? And maybe they're not staying on campus to get an excess back. So that's a refund. We start processing those refunds about the second week of September. And so again, you can view this information on student accounts to see your actual bill and the refund, and then making sure that you're actually signed up for direct deposit. Again, that's through our Student Financial Services Student Accounts Office. And you can do that again on PacerNet through self-service through student accounts. So those are two great questions. So in order to get that refund to pay rent and your other expenses, your educational related expenses, after your bill is paid, be sure to sign up for direct deposit and then to check that status on your PacerNet. So the next question we got was about other scholarship opportunities. And again, a great question. We have my office receives the outside scholarships that students receive from other outside entities. And this is not just a new incoming freshman thing. This is throughout your students and your educational career that you can apply for different scholarship opportunities. So think about places in your local area, your community, whether that's a faith-based organization that you're a member of, whether it's a fraternal organization such as the Masons or Kiwanis Club or VFW, those types of places, whether it's a national affiliation such as the League of Women Voters or whatever that is. A lot of these places do have scholarship opportunities because that's their way of giving back to the community. Hopefully, if you are a high school senior, you had a guidance counselor or a senior counselor who had some type of website or listing or emails that they sent to you about different opportunities. Also, there's search engines that you can use. Be sure not to ever pay for scholarship search. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like if they're trying to give you money, why would they charge you a fee? So just kind of be careful about that. Think about merchants. If you're a resident of North Carolina, the North Carolina Foundation also has a great scholarship tool that you can use to look for scholarships. Also, as a P student, you do have the access to our iGrad site, and they also have another scholarship search engine on their site. So not only does iGrad offer scholarship information, they also offer different budgeting, short courses, job search, retirement, stuff like that. So it's all things financial, right? But again, the scholarship search is a great tool that students have used. I can say that we've had probably over 400 or 500 different scholarship entities send us checks for students, right? So we keep those, we track those. And again, your resources to what's in your community is a great resource for that. Another question I got was, I would like to discuss out-of-pocket expenses and options. So when you are thinking about your particular out-of-pocket expenses, thinking about the cost of tuition, if you're staying on campus, your total cost, minusing any scholarships you receive from the institution, plus any federal and state aid, right? So once you have that calculation, that's for the academic year, right? So then divide that by 2, half for fall, half for spring. So when you're figuring that out, once you're figuring out actually how much you need, again, that's when you look at other sources. So we just kind of discussed outside scholarships. Some families are eligible for tuition reimbursement or tuition remission benefits. So making sure you're checking with your HR area to see if there's any opportunities for that. Student loans sometimes are an option. So again, the federal government does offer students a certain amount annually that they're eligible to borrow. Some can be interest-free, such as subsidized. Some can gain interest, but it's a low interest rate, the unsubsidized loans. Some families find that the parent loan or a private loan is a great option. And I have a couple slides to kind of talk about those in a bit more detail. And also we do have a payment plan, right? So that payment plan breaks your payment up to 5 payments. So when you get your bill in June, you can sign up and that first payment will be due in July. And your payments will be July, August, September, October, November. So it's done by the end of that term. And then so you're on track for that next following term. And again, thinking about your own resources, resources that you're assuming that will come in, such as you got the scholarship and that's coming in. So again, that sometimes is an assistance to families. Just talking a bit about the difference between a parent loan and a private loan. So a parent loan is in the parent's name, right? And it's only in the parent's name. And that's through the federal government. It has a fixed interest rate. And there are certain limits, though, of the amount that you can take each academic year. So you do want to take that in consideration. And there's an overall lifetime limit as well per that student. The private loan is a loan in the student's name that generally they would need a credit-worthy endorser or cosigner for that loan. So the student can't get that in their name by themselves. So the kind of the differences between the two are, again, the parent loan is in the parent's name, and the private loan or the alternative loan is in the student's name with a cosigner. There's differences between whether it's a fixed interest rate or variable interest rate. They're estimating the parent loan next year is going to be right around 9.07%. That's not set in stone yet, but that's going to be probably pretty close to the number, and that will be released pretty soon. With the parent loan, you can't just have any adverse credit. So that's no bankruptcies within the last 6 months or things of that nature. The private loans tend to need a bit more stronger credit rating. So sometimes they look at debt to income and things of that nature. The nice thing about the parent loan is that if the parent is denied, then that student can receive an additional loan in their name, not for that full amount, but for a smaller amount. You would apply for the parent loan on studentaid.gov. The private loan, we have a tool that's off of the Student Center that the student has a comparison, and I can show you that in a couple slides. Also, just some other key things between the parent loan and the private loan is the parent loan does have some some protections in there. So they do allow forbearances and deferments in case something happens where you can't necessarily make those payments, versus a private loan through a bank. Normally, once you set up on payments, you start making those particular payments. Also, again, on the parent loan, there is a limit each year versus the private loan does go up to the cost of attendance or cost of education. The other nice thing about a private loan is that if you do have a cosigner, many times you can apply for, or they'll tell you if they have a cosigner release. That means after the student is making so many consecutive payments, so like after they graduate and they start paying on that loan, after 2 years, they can release that cosigner from that loan. The parent loan is always in the parent's name. You can't switch it. So those are kind of some differences. So if you're really looking into these two options, we can have a further conversation. There's a lot online about it as well. But these are just some things to think about and consider. Again, if you do want to apply for that private loan, that link through Elm Select on the Student Center is a great option for families. And when you go through there, you'll see a comparison. So they'll give you different lenders and servicers that you can look at, and they kind of tell you what the range is. So it's going to say, oh, this range for fixed is between here and here. So you can see it's a variance of ranges. And again, depending upon how strong the credit is of the not only the borrower or the student, but their cosigner, that tells you how low the interest rate might be. The other nice thing about the private loan is that the cosigner doesn't have to be a parent. It could be a grandparent. It could be a significant other, a family friend, another relative. So it can be a varying of people, and that might get you a different interest rate, and or also if the parent is not able to, then that might be another way to assist the student. The next question we got was about they are a transfer from, and they're a Wake Tech graduate. So questions about their scholarships. Basically that program, their student isn't eligible anymore for their scholarships. So they can use their federal grants and state grants and federal loans. And so the student's offer letter, again, on the Student Center, should be updated to that information. And again, if you have additional questions, feel free to email our office and we can walk step by step with you through that. The next question, and I just showed basically how you can, if you're thinking about funding, you can break it up in different ways. So let's say you say, well, I know we're getting an outside scholarship of $3,000. So maybe that will affect how much you actually apply for in a private loan or something else because you're expecting that other resource. So again, there's many ways for you to break up your payment and what is left over. The next question was they were interested in federal work study. In order to apply for federal work study, we do give priority to our current students. So we're in the process now of finding out who is going to return and what open positions there will be. So we have a wait list for students who want to be considered for work study. Work study is a federally funded program in partnership with the institution to have different jobs and it's a need-based program. So it is a biweekly paycheck still. So based on if your student works 10 hours, they're going to get paid for 10 hours. So it's a biweekly paycheck. The nice thing about that tends to be is that they get great work experience, right? And then they're also cognizant that they are students first, right? So they understand, oh, this is break week, or this is study day, or finals are coming up, that type of thing. So we do have the different on and off campus positions available. If you're able to scan the QR code to join the waitlist, certainly do that. If you can't, for some reason, let's say you're on your device, and that's a little weird thing, right? You can always email our office, finaid@peace.edu, and ask to be put on the wait list, and they will send you the link to fill out that survey to be added to our wait list. There are other jobs on campus as well. Some of them do require for you, different requirements. So maybe that you've been here a year, or we have different positions that are not work study, they're just student employment around campus. So there are plenty of opportunities. There's a welcome fair during welcome week where they will have those opportunities advertise for families, for students to, engage and find out a bit more about them. So definitely work study is an option, but there are also other on campus and close to campus opportunities. The next question was, the student said, I would like to cancel my loan through the school because I accepted it in error. Anytime you want to make that type of change, feel free to email us at finaid@peace.edu from your Peace email account, and then we can cancel that for you. If you don't have access to that yet for some reason, we have plenty of time before the bills are produced and all that to get that taken care of for you. So let's say you click something, or you're like, oh no, I didn't want to accept that, and it doesn't allow you to undo it on self-service. Feel free to email us, but we do ask that that's from your Peace account so that we know that that's you, because that was issued to you. So, and there was also a question about waiving the school health insurance. You'll get instructions about how to do that through self-service through Wealthly. I will say that making sure when you're putting your ID number in, you're adding all the leading zeros, because that is part of your ID number for that particular sign-on. But if you continue having problems with that, our student financial services or student accounts offices can help you with that a bit more. Again, you have plenty of time to do that, because that deadline isn't until I believe maybe the end of August, first week of September. So you still have move in and all that time. So again, we have plenty of time to get that part taken care of. So, Ryan, that was all the questions that I had in advance. Were there any others in the chat?
Sorry, your screen froze a little bit, or maybe that was me. It says I'm just gonna take the screen off just because it's saying that my internet connection is unstable. Denisha, the questions that I received for the financial aid package in the loan category, do they have to call someone to reject the Parent Plus loans? Because I didn't see a way to reject it.
Yeah, great question. So that Parent Plus loan on there is really a placeholder. So because that is the student's account, we are not allowing the students to apply for a parent loan on the parent's behalf. So really it's just a placeholder. So there's nothing you have to do for that. You don't have to accept it or decline it, because you can't accept it or decline it. You have to actually go on studentaid.gov to apply for it. So there's nothing you actually need to do. It's not going to go anywhere. It's really just a placeholder for you to know what that difference is of what we estimate possibly you might need in financing. So there's nothing that you would need to do.
Does the aid have to be completed to attend the school year, and when's the due date?
Um, I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but I'll say this. There's no additional steps that are needed for your scholarships and grants to go onto your bill. So once you receive your bill, those will be on there. Let's say you don't know if you want to accept the federal loans or anything else. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to activate them, and nothing will happen. And they will stay out there, for a period of time. You can certainly decline them if you choose to, but later on, same as I said before, if something life happens, things change, something doesn't come through, you can always email us from your Peace account and we can reinstate anything that you've declined. So there's no real deadline. The deadline is before the term ends. So let's say if you did want to activate something, be sure you do that a couple of weeks before the term ends so that we'll have time to process it, because we do have some federal deadlines of us activating it with the federal government. So there's no real deadline to accept the federal loans, or the parent loan or private loan, anything like that, especially if you're not necessarily using them to pay your bill. If you're using them to pay your bill, then I would say you need to activate anything you need for fall, let's say by mid once you get your bill. So the end of June, beginning of July, I would start to activate those things so that it's all set for that July payment, that July 15th due date.
Yeah, and I'll follow up. The July 15th is the due date for paying in full or setting up a payment plan and making the first payment. So you want to get your ducks in a row at least by the end of June.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I've
that. Yeah, thank you.
got a question. And if we don't have the name for the account, it just says iPad Air. So if when will I be able to accept or decline the total awards in the aid package? iPad Air, if you could change your name um, to your actual name, and that way we can help work you through it a little bit better, if that makes sense. Um, and then when the bills go out, will the GI Bill and Chapter 35 be factored in if the student is using that along with the Peace Scholarship?
So, our registrar is our certifying official. Hopefully you've already started that process by submitting the paperwork that needs to be done with that. I know that they have a website. I think it's uh, military. You type in military on our website, it takes you to that page and talks about what you need. And so what they do though is I believe they do send a list to our student accounts, our students financial services office, and they kind of work with you and your bill. So just kind of know that a lot of our bill reminders is automatic though. So a lot of times you will receive automatic reminders and things of that nature. So just definitely kind of check your emails and making sure that you've turned in whatever you needed to, whether it's the DD 214, whether it's, filling out the application on I don't remember the name of the page, for the veterans and military benefits. But definitely maybe go to that page off of our registrar site for military and then making sure that you have everything you need. And not sure if you can answer any more about that, Ryan.
Yeah, I would just talk with your counselor, and then they can help you get everything in. And yeah, just like Melanie does a great job of working with students to help them get the benefits certified and applied. So
Now that, and I'll tell you, they have to wait until school actually starts to even do that process because that's when you're technically considered enrolled student. So that's one part of it. So it doesn't happen, and then I feel like, especially if it's your first time us receiving those funds, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So sometimes it's into the term. So that's not something you're going to see regardless at the very beginning of the term or near our deadline. So just making sure that, you kind of are aware of how much of the benefit you're actually going to get. And then if there is a difference, kind of making sure that, you have that in mind and taking care of that.
that's great advice. And we do have the student's name. He does have a it's Caleb Walls. He does have a financial aid package um, with his account. So when can he go in and accept or decline the total awards in the aid with the aid package?
So that should sounds like it's available now for the student to do. Again, they don't technically have to accept any of their scholarships or grants. That's automatically accepted for you. What you would need to activate is if there's other parts of that, like the student loans, things like that, parent loans, those are the ones you'd have to do the next steps for.
Any any other question? Thank you for that, Denisha. Any other questions for the good of the group? No. And if you wanna just unmute yourself and ask, you can do that. That works as well. Um, I will. I'm gonna drop my information in the chat.
And I'll just say that, uh, we know it's a lot, right? It's a lot to even, you're just finishing one thing and going on to the next. So really it's great to hop onto these things because sometimes, someone else will ask something that you didn't really think of, right? So that's a great time to do that. Again, just, the bills are going to come out. Wow. Uh, in next month, really
Yeah.
soon. We're in
Yeah.
May, right?
Yep.
So, and then just again, we will, send instructions. There'll be instructions with that. If you have questions, definitely we're here to kind of help you through those. Um, and so again, July 15th, making sure that you kind of have, kind of everything in place for that payment. The payment plan is a great option for many families, especially if you don't know or you're not sure, you're expecting outside scholarships, but not sure when they're going to come in. Sometimes that payment plan is a great option, that 5 payments. And if you overpay, then they will refund that money back to the student. So yeah. Um, we're excited. We're excited to have you. We thank you for coming on the call and, hopefully you got some questions answered. Glad you got lingering questions answered. That's exactly why we're here.
Yep.
And we do have another one coming up, right? Um, Brian, I don't know,
Yes.
in about a
Yes.
month
It's
or so.
like early, like right before bills drop.
Yep. And then I think that's joint with our student financial services. So again, and there's things throughout the summer, different opportunities to talk to different areas. So definitely we are here as a resource. We're a partner with you on this, and we're excited for you to be coming in the fall. So just look out for great things. And Ryan and the admissions team are always a great partner, having great
Yep.
resources for families.
Denisha is by far the best financial aid director I've ever worked with. And her and her team are fantastic. They are terrific to work with. They will help you out. So if you have any questions that that are a little bit much, just go to fineda.peace.edu and they'll be happy to help. All right. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna. It's 6:30. I'll let everybody go for the night. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great night.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Great questions.